Chloe is 34. She works in UX design, which means she spends her days building the exact same psychology-based engagement loops that she goes home and falls into every night. She knows what a variable reward is. She has a folder on her laptop called Dark Patterns, filled with screenshots of interfaces designed to manipulate users. And still, every night, 2 hours minimum, sometimes 4. What matters about Chloe isn't what she does, it's what she represents. She runs 3 times a week. She's been saving 20% of her income since she was 26. She reads. She has a meal plan. By every visible measure, Chloe has self-control, and she still can't stop scrolling. This is not a story about willpower. It never was. There's a reason Chloe can't stop, and it has nothing to do with her. But there's something more important she doesn't know yet. Something that changes everything. The system wasn't just designed to be attractive. It was designed to be inescapable. Now meet someone who tried the opposite. Ryan is 28. He saw the problem early. Deleted Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of it, in one afternoon. No transition, no plan, just gone. He lasted 11 days, not because he missed the content, not because he was bored, but because leaving a social platform doesn't just mean leaving an app. It means losing the group chats that live there, the event invitations that only get posted there, the professional contacts who only respond there, the birthday reminders, the inside jokes, the local news. Ryan came back not because the apps were good. He came back because leaving had a cost he hadn't calculated. That's not weakness, that's design. There are 2 ways to lose this game. Chloe never found an exit. Ryan found one and got charged to walk through it. The system anticipated both of them. It anticipated you too. Here's what you see when you look at any of these platforms. A free service. An app that asks for nothing but your time. That's the visible surface. Under it is a system built from decades of behavioral science with one objective. Keep you looking. Not because your attention is pleasant to have, but because your attention is the product being sold. Every second you spend on these platforms is converted into advertising revenue. Your behavior patterns, your emotional states, your time of day, all of it feeds a targeting engine that sells access to your brain to the highest bidder. But that's still just the surface, because before they could sell your attention, they had to capture it, and capturing it required a blueprint. A Stanford researcher named B.J. Fogg discovered something that sounds simple but destroys everything you believe about choice. Any behavior, any action you take, requires 3 things at the same moment: motivation, ease, and a trigger. Sounds obvious. It's not. Because what Fogg found is that if you make something easy enough, a person will do it with almost 0 motivation. The behavior happens automatically, without thought, without real choice. The platforms took that model and built entire products around it. They cranked motivation with social fear, the unread badge, the streak counter, the FOMO of knowing other people are inside the app right now and you're not. They zeroed out difficulty by stripping every possible barrier. No password to retype, no loading pause, no decision between episodes, no bottom of the page. The entire experience is engineered to offer 0 resistance from the moment your thumb moves. And the triggers. The triggers are everywhere. The red dot, the notification sound, the number that wasn't there when you put the phone down. Your brain evolved over millions of years to treat the color red as urgency, danger, importance. They knew that. They used it every single time. That's one layer. There are more, and each one runs deeper. Fogg explained how to start a behavior. Nir Eyal figured out how to make it permanent. 4 phases, each one locking the door a little tighter behind you. Phase 1, the trigger. It starts external. The notification, the icon, the vibration. But here's what most people miss. Over time, the external trigger becomes unnecessary. The product teaches your brain to generate internal triggers instead. Boredom becomes a trigger. Loneliness, the 3 seconds waiting for an elevator, waking up in the morning. The app doesn't need to call you once it already lives inside you. Phase 2, the action. The rule is 0 effort, has to be reflex. Phase 3, the variable reward. This is where the machine bares its teeth. Not a fixed reward, variable. Sometimes you open the app and something genuinely lands. A message from someone you care about, a video that makes you laugh, news you'd been waiting on. Sometimes there's nothing. And that randomness, that pure unpredictability, is what drives the behavior deeper into your nervous system. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines 3 times more addictive than other forms of gambling. You're not pulling the lever because you expect to win. You're pulling it because you don't know if this one will be the pull. Phase 4. The investment. This is the trap you don't see until it's already closed. Every like you give is training the algorithm on your psychology. Every photo uploaded, every year of messages stored on their servers. That's investment. It makes the product more personally valuable. It raises the cost of leaving. By the time you're thinking about quitting, you've already poured so much in that quitting feels like throwing it all away. The system was waiting for exactly that feeling. But none of this would hold without the chemistry. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That's the mistake almost everyone makes. Dopamine is the wanting chemical, the searching chemical. It fires in the anticipation of a reward, not upon receiving one. It's the feeling right before you find out, the moment before the swipe completes. And the brain's response to a variable reward, something unpredictable, sometimes good, sometimes nothing, isn't a spike and a drop. It's a sustained, grinding activation of the seeking circuit. You're not enjoying the scroll. You're hunting. Your brain thinks something valuable is just ahead. One more swipe. One more refresh. The reward prediction system, the mechanism that evolved to help humans find food, shelter, and safety, has been pointed at a feed that never ends and never fully delivers. Here's the part nobody told you. After prolonged exposure to that level of stimulation, the brain compensates. It downregulates its own dopamine receptors. The platform has to show you something slightly more extreme to produce the same response. Meanwhile, ordinary life, a walk outside, a conversation, a page of a book, starts to feel flat, boring, insufficient. That's not a character flaw. That's the system recalibrating your brain to need more of itself. The dopamine deficit state is not a side effect. It's the product. When you feel hollow and empty after an hour of scrolling, that feeling pushes you back in. The discomfort of leaving is engineered by the act of staying. You're not addicted to the platform. You're addicted to trying to escape the hole the platform created. The neurochemistry alone would sustain a habit. The designers went further. In 2006, a developer named Asa Raskin built Infinite Scroll. He wanted browsing to feel smooth. No more clicking next page. No more interruptions. He succeeded. He also built, by his own admission, something closer to a slot machine than a reading experience. Infinite Scroll extended average session times on platforms like Facebook and Instagram by 50%. Not because the content got better, because the stopping cue disappeared. A stopping cue is the signal that tells your brain a natural pause has arrived. The end of a chapter, the last song on the side, the physical edge of the newspaper. These cues exist in every media format humans have ever created. Infinite Scroll deleted them. Autoplay compounded it. That single feature generates approximately 48% of all watch time on YouTube. Not 48% of a small number, 48% of billions of hours, because every ending is immediately replaced by a beginning. The decision to continue is never made. It's the default. Anthropologist Natasha Dow-Schull spent years studying casino design and described what happens inside this environment as the machine zone, a state where time stops, the self dissolves, and the only thing that exists is the next stimulus. Gamblers there aren't playing to win. They're playing to stay in. Scrollers in the machine zone aren't looking for anything. They're staying in. Casinos in Las Vegas have no clocks and no windows. The apps on your phone don't either. That's not coincidence. That's architecture. And it was built specifically around the shape of your attention. If the product only captured you neurologically, you could break it by changing habits. People quit things neurologically harder than this. So the system added a third layer: social. Human beings are profoundly tribal. Belonging to the group wasn't a preference for our ancestors. It was survival. Exclusion was a threat to life. The brain evolved to treat social signals with the same urgency as physical danger. The platforms understand this at a molecular level. Streaks are the clearest expression of it. Snapchat streaks require you to send something every single day to maintain a counter. Loss aversion, the psychological principle that the pain of losing something is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining it, activates around day 30. By day 100, the streak isn't a feature anymore. It's a hostage. Users keep Snapchat installed not because they love the app, They keep it installed because breaking a 200-day streak feels like a loss they can't afford. The relationship isn't between the user and the content. It's between the user and the number belongs to them. And then there's what happens when you try to leave. Signing up for any major platform takes about 45 seconds. Deleting your account, truly, permanently, involves navigating menus buried 3 to 5 levels deep, confirming your decision multiple times, and in many cases, wading through a mandatory hold period designed specifically to give you time to reconsider. Some platforms show photographs of your friends during the deletion process. The text reads, "Are you sure? Sarah will miss you." That's not customer service. That's social shaming installed at the exit door. And even if you complete the process, what you leave behind is years of photos, messages, and connections that don't exist anywhere else. The sunk cost is real, and it was engineered to be. Here is the part that changes what this is. While all of this was being built and refined and deployed, the people running these platforms already knew exactly what they were doing to you. Internal documents from Meta, leaked by whistleblower Frances Haugen, revealed what happened when their own researchers asked a simple question. What would change if users stopped using Instagram for 1 week? The results were unambiguous. 1 week off, Instagram caused measurable, causal improvements in depression, anxiety, and loneliness. Not correlation. Causal. Meta's own internal research proved their product was making people depressed. The same document showed that 3.1% of users met their internal threshold for severe problematic use, millions of individuals. Internal research connected Instagram directly to suicidal ideation in 13% of British teen users. And after finding all of that, Meta's internal directive was captured in a single line. Teen time spent should be our top goal, not teen well-being, not teen safety. Teen time spent. Your attention was never the accidental byproduct of a platform trying to serve you. Your attention was always the inventory. Everything else, the features, the design, the free account, was infrastructure built to fill the warehouse. You are not the user. You are the product being delivered. So where does that leave you? Because there's a dangerous version of watching this video where you absorb all of it, feel righteous and aware, and then pick up your phone 30 minutes later and open the app on reflex. That version changes nothing. The system was built to survive your awareness of it. Asa Raskin, the man who invented Infinite Scroll, has said he has to consciously fight the urge to use it. He built the cage and still has to work to stay out. Knowing the mechanism doesn't dissolve it. The groove in your brain is still there. What changes isn't the craving. What changes is what you do in the 3 seconds before the reflex completes. That gap, 3 seconds, is the only window where you still exist as a decision maker. Right now, the system closes that window before you notice it opened. The entire architecture is designed around eliminating that pause. So the strategy is simple and uncomfortable. Manufacture the pause artificially. Delete the app from your phone. Not the account, the app. The friction of opening a browser, navigating to the site, and logging in is enough to interrupt the reflex before it becomes action. That's it. Not a detox. Not a purge, just enough resistance to let the 3 seconds exist. Then identify your triggers, not the phone, but what you feel right before you reach for it. Boredom, loneliness, anxiety, a moment of quiet that feels wrong. Those internal states are what the hook model spent years installing. Name them. When you feel them, the reflex will still fire. But now you'll catch it 1 beat earlier and download your data, photos, messages, connections, export everything. Remove the hostage. The sunk cost that keeps the app installed only has power because you believe leaving means losing everything. It doesn't. Once your history lives outside their servers, the exit is no longer a one-way door. The rest is time. Meta's own deactivation research showed measurable mood improvements after just 1 week without Instagram. The brain is not permanently damaged. It is temporarily recalibrated, and it recalibrates back. Once the overstimulation stops, the flatness lifts, and things that used to feel boring start feeling like enough again. Chloe still uses Instagram, but she understands now that she's not fighting her own weakness. She's fighting a product built by teams of behavioral engineers who had her psychology mapped before she ever downloaded the app. She's fighting the fog model, and the hook cycle, and the variable reward schedule, and the infinite scroll, and the exit friction, and the social cost, and the internal documents that prove they knew exactly what they were building. She doesn't hate herself for it anymore. And that matters more than it sounds. Because the shame spiral, the "I wasted 3 hours and I'm pathetic" loop, was never a consequence of the problem. It was fuel for it. Shame drives you back to the one thing that numbs shame. The apps understood that too. The guilt you feel after scrolling is just the next trigger. Knowing it's a system doesn't free you from it instantly, but it changes what you're fighting. You thought you were fighting yourself. You were outnumbered the whole time.